What's up, everybody? This is Kiki coming to you today to send nothing but love, peace, and positivity your way. Getting ready to eat me some midday lunch. I don't know, I was craving some Raisin Bran, something that's really good for the fiber in you. I remember when I was little, I used to always complain every time my grandmother would go to the store because she would always buy a box of Raisin Bran. I'm like, Grandma, we like Captain Crunch, we like Fruit Loops. Why are you always getting Raisin Bran? And now I understand the whole method behind the madness. It is healthy. I mean, something I don't always eat because it is, sugary, but it does have some benefits. So I try to take advantage of it whenever I can, especially, with the fiber. But I'm going to go ahead and get rid of my bowl of Raisin Bran, and I'll come back to you and start my Sunday sermon. All right, I'm back and I'm ready to go. So I was reflecting and thinking about how everything is playing out and all the information that I have ran across during my research. I wanted to learn more about our history, but particularly how things were laid out in the Bible versus how the scientists put out information. And I tried to kind of compare it. So what I'm about to talk about is the information that I have gathered. This is based on my opinion, my research, and a few facts that can back it up. And I wanted to share it with you guys. This is kind of like my what if scenario. So, and I want you to just, take it and use it to your benefit. Maybe you can do further research on it. But this is information that I wanted to share with you out of love, out of helping you develop, the motivation to want to do your own research. Okay. Because remember what I said, always research whatever information somebody gives you, and also use discernment, because a lot of information that's pertaining to our history is hidden. So we kind of have to piece it together. Like, what's the show I used to watch back in the days? The investigator. Oh my gosh, his name is right at the end of my tongue. I don't know. It was a show that came out in the 80s that I used to watch when I was little. My grandmother was very hooked on it, so it kind of got me in on it. But when I think of the name, I post it somewhere. It's really not a big deal to remember, but a lot of the point of that I'm trying to make is you really have to do your own research and kind of, pray for guidance and discernment to know whether the information you're receiving is truthful, factual, and beneficial. Okay, because that's the main goal. Is we want to learn about things that's going to be a benefit and help us survive in this crazy world called Matrix. Okay, so when and I'm not going to do any major preaching and Bible study, and I'm just going to touch on a few things that I have learned and know that is in the Bible, and then we can compare notes and go from there. Okay. Also, before I get started, I want to say, please, please, please don't come at me, negatively. I am only here to bring light when there's a lot of darkness going on. That's what my ancestors came to me. That's what my spirit guides gave to me. And so I'm trying to be obedient. I'm not looking for any controversies or any haters. I mean, I'm kind of getting used to it. If you want to go ahead and join the list of my haters, then go ahead. That's on you. But this is just my personal information and research and how I piece certain things together. And this is kind of what I came up with. Okay. All right. So we know in the Bible, it does state that, Adam and Eve were created to fulfill a certain mission in this world. Right. But before they created, or Adam and Eve was created, it stated that we're going to make man in our likeness or similar to our image, right? And I'm not going to be able to read it or say it verbatim, but if you want to go back to the first part of Genesis, you will see all this information. I'm just kind of phrasing it, but with not with any extra to make it sound like I'm making up words. Okay. So when we hear the word make Adam and Eve in our likeness or in our image, I think of a group of people that exist that is formulating or piecing together maybe some DNAs to create a specific race of people inside of a laboratory. And I feel like Eden represents a laboratory. Now, and I've also heard about this through one of Billy Carson's. If you follow him, he kind of touches on the historical information regarding Adam and Eve. And I think he goes way beyond Adam and Eve. But he has some really good, interesting information on this topic, okay? So if they were created in a laboratory, they were created in a specific way. You see me look away, I'm looking at notes. And so while they were in that laboratory, they pretty much had the opportunity to explore the area until they ran into a little issue. Now, I'm just going to try to cut it short. In my mind, and based on what I read, I feel like the main sins they ran into is, okay, when Eve bit the apple, she was disobedient, okay, if it was really an apple. But I feel like it was more of knowledge, just learning some information. Temptation, which is the same as being influenced. Somebody is putting words in your ear, getting in your head to make you do something, using a spell, the words. Guilt. So, they say God was upset and cast them out of the Garden of Eden. So because they were being disobedient and because Adam did not, stand beside Eve, or was watching over Eve, he was, cast out. He was punished as well. So I'm pretty sure he had to feel some type of way towards Eve because she did something that she wasn't supposed to do. And now he's suffering as well. So I'm guessing we'll just say resentment. Eventually they had children, which they grew up, Cain and Abel. And the sin that I feel like was involved with them was jealousy, validation. One brother was able to win the favor and the heart of God, and the other brother didn't. And then murder. And so I honestly feel like the people that was created was actually, with Adam and Eve. I honestly believe they were either like Middle Eastern type of race or possibly European race. I really feel that way. And I understand a lot of people, especially people who really believe that they're Israelites and they are big on Hebrew information. They say that, blacks were first. I do believe blacks was first. I really believe that. And I believe that the people that that did help put Adam and Eve here on earth were black. I believe that. And I believe that they were just made differently, but they do have some of our DNA. But they were missing the essence of the melanin, or the full-blown essence of the melanin. And then I also believe that when they were cast out of Eden, I believe that they were made to go out and search for another place to be, outside of the laboratory. And I believe that the place that they decided to go and create a new land or a new tribe, when they talk about the Canaanites, I believe it's tied to the Caucasus Mountain. I just strongly believe that. I believe that they went there and they created their own way of living. I don't believe it was a very clean way of living, because a lot of the pictures they show in the Bible shows Adam and Eve being naked and they use leaves to cover up. So I believe once they left the garden and they were no longer vegans, because I feel like that's what they were, when they were put into outside of the garden and when they went over into the cave, that's when they became cavemen. They had to learn how to survive in the harsh weather. And yeah, I just feel like all of that is tied together. I may not have the dates and the timeline perfect, but I feel like it's all tied together. Then I believe that once they settled wherever they settled at, over in that area, in the Europe area, that's when Jesus came into play. And that's when he decided that it was a need for him to speak on living in the old ancient indigenous way. Because if you really look and read deeply into a lot of his ways, they did not state that anything about Jesus being for materialism. He was hardworking. He was a carpenter. So, and they didn't say anything about him, hanging around or frequently hanging around people that was committing a whole lot of sins. Most likely he was trying to mission and try to get people to change from their sinful ways. So I believe that he made his mission to focus on the European area, Middle Eastern area. So those are the areas that a lot of sinful things took place. And so when Jesus, did his time, and of course, because he wanted to make a difference and a change in this world, he was pretty much crucified. Not because he committed a crime, not because he went around and started sinning right along with everybody else. It was because he was different, and they outcast him because he wanted to live a different life. Much like our ancestors that wanted to focus more on living off the earth and using herbs to heal themselves, they were cast out of a lot of small villages and communities and called witches and mistreated and tortured just like Jesus. So that's kind of what I got out of this. Is what's coming to me. This is like my own special download from the spirits up above. And so I feel like right after Jesus did his time and finished out his ministries at an early age, that's when Moors came into play. That's when Moors, and I'm guessing there were different tribes that had their own ways of living, but it wasn't as chaotic as it had gotten when the Moors ran into the European over in the Caucasus Mountains. When I feel like when they ran into them and they start to, battle with them and enslave them, they were both pretty much fighting over resources. Of course, the cavemen probably wanted to make sure that no one came in because they were the alpha males and they had things under control, even though they did a lot of cleanliness things. I've heard about incest, cannibalism, a lot of just things that wasn't quite natural compared to the African race or the Moors. So when the Moors came in, I feel like the Moors decided to take control, which, they were pretty much good at, with their military unit. They had it all under control until I think greed came into play. And once that happened, that was the door that opened, that door was open to sins to pour in. So if you have greedy people trying to civilize a group of people that's full of sin, so you got already a group of people that's coming from a bloodline of disobedience, temptation, meaning that, they are lustful, or they like to be easily influenced by others and influence others. You got people that's walking around feeling, having low self-esteem, feeling guilty for being disobedient towards God. And then you have a bloodline that have murdered someone. So you have those people enslaved, and then you're trying to show them a better way to not be a savage. So now the Moors pretty much gave them the knowledge on how to be like them. So now the Caucasians have studied the Moors. And of course, like I told you in my previous videos, a lot of the women, the European women were, the Moors planted seeds in them. So when they bore their children, they have managed to influence their children to turn against the Moors, even though that's their family, or know how to play the race card, know how to bow down to the Moors, but also do favors for the European mothers. So that was kind of where I think the weakness came into the nation. And then that's when it just compromised the African power. And it just trickled all around to different tribes, because once the Europeans became powerful and got their control back, it was more like they switched roles. So they took all the knowledge, all the information, all the secrets to the European palace and power, and they used it to their advantage. So now you got a handful of sinful people, because it was more African people than it was white people. Remember, there's white people, they're always considered the minority, but they're going to always make it seem like it's more them than us. And it might be today, because now we notice that racism and black on black crime is taking most of the black people out. So, but let me get back on track. So now that the European is in control, they have the tribes fighting against each other and fighting over jealousy and competing in resources. That just created division. So one tribe trying to be on the white people's side and another tribe against the white people, but the white people managed to take both of the tribes down. You see how that worked? Now fast forward up to what's going on today. So now we have two groups of people, we have different races trying to coexist on one soil. But the problem is that it's impossible for that to happen when there's a sinful nature etched in the bloodlines. Because this is how I see it. We know a little bit about what happened on the slave plantations. We know that most of the African slaves or black slave experienced some type of abuse, whether it was verbal abuse, being called ignorant and uneducated and illiterate and stupid and bubba and all these kind of niggers, all those kind of names. They were verbally abused. They were physically abused. We noticed that they were whipped or just beaten or tortured with some type of device. They experienced physical abuse, whether they were male or female. That's why that explains a lot of mixed mulatto children being born. My great grandmother was a part of that tribe, and her siblings. So we know that all of that took place. We took that information, those behaviors, and brought them into our black community. So now we know that black mothers are walking around verbally abusing their children. I'm a victim of it. We have women or men or young boys and young girls being molested and just mistreated and abused by maybe a family member in the household or somebody in the neighborhood, or maybe somebody in the church, that they trusted. So we got that going on in the black community. What else? And if you don't believe me, just go look at some of those pastors that was arrested for taking advantage of women. I'm just trying to remember some names. Did they say Eddie Long? That's one of them. And there's many, many more, but that's the first one that kind of popped up in my head. Then we have what else? We can say everybody is treated like a slave based on the government. So no matter if you're black, white, Indian, no matter what, I don't know why. A lot of them people from third world countries, they be trying to come over here and be thinking, oh, America's the greatest place to be, until they run into some crazy mess and realize that we're not as unified as we make it seem on TV. So then we have racism put in place. Now, already racism was already coming into play when the people that was connected to God, I'm guessing the black people was here first, so they had to have a connection with God first. And when God got mad with Adam and Eve and kicked them out of Eden, out of the laboratory, that was already right there, the first sign that it's finna be some racism, because they did not want to leave Eden. That was a place of paradise. So that's already the first beginning phase of people being racist. And then with the Moors coming in and capturing the Europeans, and because of slaves of war, many of them already disliked the black folks, because of course nobody don't want to be walking around in chains and being bowing down and doing things that they don't want to do. Okay, so that's going on. Then you have where the tribes and the problems that were breaking the tribes up, because at one time the world was unified, but now the tribes broke up, and now we have one part of Africa mad at another part of Africa, one part of America mad at the other countries and stuff like that. So that's trickling down into the community. So now we have gang members mad with another part of the gang members, but they're all trying to get to the bag, trying to get the resources. Then you have the white people that's jealous and mad because black people, I guess, have, they're more connected to the universe or have special unique abilities because of melanin. So they're jealous and mad about that. And they want to have a special connection with the God again, but it was a disconnect because of disobedience. And so I feel like it's going to be an ongoing issue with division, no matter the color, because an Asian man just shot a young black boy and got off. So it doesn't matter. It's not really about just the color. It's about the nature, the sinful nature that exists in men. And if there's a mixture of culture, that DNA and that sinful nature don't just disappear. It probably goes dormant, but it does not disappear. So now when you have people upset saying Black Lives Matter, and it does, and I'm all for justice, but you got to understand the historical foundation of this world to understand why it's the way it is, but then also start making changes. See, when you have a divided tribe or a divided community, or you got the gang members divided and fighting over corners and bags and holes and resources. That's the easy way to be distracted while the other races come in and swipe out our people in a sneaky way. And they may not do a whole group of them like they did with Christopher Columbus and St. Patrick's. They may not do a full genocide of it, but they are doing it in a very subtle way. So they have figured out a way to get us to kill each other. So that's why you have women going out here killing men over another female. Or you got men going out here killing each other over money and possibly a hoe or a bitch. Or you got men out here turning against the black woman and disrespecting the black woman, even though they came from a black woman. So you got all of this craziness going on, all of this distraction. Then people are trying to crab. It's almost like crabs in a barrel. They all trying to get to the beautiful top part of the materialism that the system put in place of, oh, having money, oh, having beautiful fame and being beautiful and popular. And so everybody trying to climb up, trying to get to the top of what is really a distraction. Because at the end of it all, when you die, you can't take none of that shit with you. But you are risking your God-given life and gift to fit in with a group of people that ran game and mind fucked our ancestors just to live like them. Now, isn't that a story to take in? Think about it. I may not be exactly dead on the money, but I ain't too far from the truth. I ain't too far from the information. I know that. Now, whether your pastor gonna preach about it or not, every Sunday should be about improving mental health and helping us coexist and being protected from sinful programming spells that happen through social media, through the radio, or through the movies they are creating. That's what I feel like the sermons need to be about every Sunday. But as long as the European use religion to distract us and keep us divided, because remember I told you everything is divided. You got the blacks against all of the other races. You have the sinners against the holy people. You have the wealthy against the poor. You know what I mean? You have the healthy against the sick. Remember what happened with COVID? Everybody started to act weird and paranoid. That was the vision. Oh, I can't stand in the line by her. She looked like she's sick. You see? So y'all keep getting caught up in this whirlwind of bullshit with all this voting and all this, oh, I'm better than the next person. Oh, I look better than her. My BBL looks better and well put together than her BBL. Niggas, oh man, my ride look better than your ride. Oh man, I got a bigger bag than yours. And you sit up there being distracted. And all you're going to do is shorten your life. And they're just going to, the powers that be, just going to fill in your spot once you disappear. Whether it's in prison and you come out emasculated, or a female acting masculine, or whether you just prepare yourself to be 6 feet under while they make money off your carcass. So keep that in mind. Peace and love and blessings.